What's good? How's the life? In some cases, maybe how's the wife? You know what I'm saying? Um, we here tonight, man. Um, Doing what we do just about every night. Try and take over the world. All right, gotta get that taken care of. Shout out to Shidoria, working hard and all that stuff, saving lives and shit. You know, you gotta respect it, and if you don't, fuck you. Um, I don't got really shit to talk about tonight. I'm gonna talk about a little bit of what I wrote down, but it's not really where I was trying to go with this shit. So it I don't know. I may keep it, I may not. Who knows what the fuck may go on in here tonight. But nonetheless, yes, I am here. I am recording. I am all that shit. Please get whatever you need for this ride. Um, Whatever it may be, type shit. Um, but it's just some stuff to tap into. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't really a set in stone type of uh, late night edition morning hit. But the interviews have been going well. If y'all haven't checked those out lately, you have Gray Earth Magi. You have Big Foolie. You also have Chris Gristle. So please, by all means, go to Spotify, check those out for me. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you don't know, this is the late night edition morning hit. I pretty much have a late night edition to all the things that I do here because life happens. So to save my own ass, I have a late night edition. For those who may be on the road, up in a different country, whatever the fuck the case may be when you find this. But just know, I'm gonna give you something funny, something to grow on, something to think about. So, with that being said, we're gonna talk about this shit. Like for people like me, you can't sleep at night, um, and some of us may not really understand how much scrolling complicates things for us. Not just your everyday life, but the way you may process that everyday life. You know what I mean? Because I'm starting to realize with a lot of things, it's mostly mental. The physical part is usually the easy part. Some cases, no. But with this, I feel like it's definitely more mental. We have become programmed in sorts. Like, remember when people just had dope ass ideas? But now it's like people have dope ass ideas, but also are dumb at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, people have great ideas, but sometimes it's like their method is kind of broke or some shit, right? Right. All right. So that being said, do you understand that every time you hold a remote, controller, phone, or when you just scroll on your phone. That shit is really changing your brain on some shit. It may not seem like it at the, I guess, the forefront of the shit. It doesn't seem like scrolling would change. How the fuck is that changing your brain? Right? But there's this little lovely thing called neuroplasticity. I'm pretty sure we've all heard that word. If you've ever been in therapy, anything along those lines, or just in life in general, I'm pretty sure you heard neuroplasticity. All right. And what is that, ladies and gents? We all know that is the brain's ability to rewrite itself based on repeated behavior. So, when you say that, Squish, what do you mean by that? Okay. Not really what I mean by that, but what does it mean? Um, it's basically saying that your actions, somehow, some way, if they're repeated, can become your new neural pathway. So you could, in ways, just sit and chill and not really take heed to it. I mean, most people won't. But I mean, when you think about it, even your repeated behaviors as far as your thought process towards yourself, could you be a little bit more nicer to you? I think we all can. You know what I mean? Especially with what we have going on in society. Basically, you getting told you ain't shit every which way you turn around. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's really all I see social media doing at this point. Basically telling you, this person is the shit. You're not the shit because you don't have the things of this person. But half the time, that person is a fucking weirdo and a creep. You know what I'm saying? No book of life. So, you have to think of those things. You know what I mean? Like if you think about it now, they push a lot more shit on us than they used to. And that's kind of the sad part of it. We're like almost being force fed content in a way. And it's by who they select type shit. Because y'all get tired of me probably saying this, but it's a lot of influencers, YouTubers, whatever you want to call it, that scam and do fucked up shit. You know what I mean? But do they get taken down? Do they get restricted? No, they don't. They're allowed to continue moving on, pressing on, making their, I ain't gonna say it's bullshit content, but it's very misleading. Because if I've learned anything from this YouTube stint I've been doing and trying to do this shit, like not full time, but actually take it serious, like you, how do I put this? You have people who eat, sleep, breathe, and would almost expire behind this shit. So it's like when you see people doing that, your SS Sniper Wolves and other people, TikTokers and shit, um, find it very, I guess, easy to make up lies, make this story better than what it is, or just be an ain't shit person and be very well at hiding it. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I got from my little deep dives I was doing behind the TikTok influencers and different people like that. Like, you gotta think, like, people with kids, like, I don't know, like, it just be crazy because, like, kids can get a hold of this shit and they be talking about any and everything. And they just, I don't know, like, it's just weird to me. Like, I know I'm not for kids, period, point blank. I know that. That's fine. But I feel like if you're trying to keep this clean cut image and shit, actually just be what the fuck you say you are. Like, If you're a nail tech, do nails. Don't be like shiesty to your customers and to your followers and shit, and then blame them for everything that goes wrong. Like, I don't know. It's just that shit has left a weird taste in my mouth. Pause. But it's just because it's like I see people actually trying to be, you know, a YouTuber or a content creator and shit. Like, and that kind of fucks them up if you really think about it. Because they can never get in the algorithm because motherfuckers is pushing bullshit on the other end, you know what I mean? And because this person has a certain amount of followers, certain amount of revenue, and this, that, and the third, like the shit flies. And that's kind of my issue with a lot of social media and this whole influencer shit and stuff. Like, everybody wants to get the fame, notoriety, and all that shit, right? But I feel like no one wants to take the role seriously. And I mean, you have some that do, you know what I'm saying, until some shit come out. But at the same time, like I just feel like a lot of this shit, people that they influence, it's only a matter of time before it goes to shit. Because it's like I see a lot of facades in this shit, in my opinion. Hence why I do the shit the way I do. I just want to be authentically me in this shit. You know what I mean? So maybe some people will get that shit, maybe some people won't. But I can't do it for the likes. I can't do it for the notoriety. Can't do it for the fame. Like if that shit comes, it comes. Cool, fine and dandy. Like it is what it is. But I just wish more people would take the shit seriously if this is what you want to do. Actually putting relative information out that actually benefits the situation or a culture. Like, don't just be out here being a fucking crash dummy, test tube baby for motherfuckers and shit. Because, in my opinion, that is the worst thing you could do to yourself or your culture. So, I'm just saying that to say this. Like, I know a lot of, even my own kids, like, this social media shit ain't going nowhere no time soon. But if that's the case, then I feel like motherfuckers should really be about the shit that they talk about. Not as far as violence, but as far as like, if you're a positive person, let's see that positivity, like other than online. You feel me? Like, I know you can do it online because the camera's on and you know you're gonna get paid a X amount of money. You know what I'm saying? For views. So like I get that part. But at the same time, when do you start actually trying to change some shit or trying to be the positive person that you pretending to be? When does that fall into place? You know what I'm saying? When do we see a change for the better? Like, okay, we know you're gonna do the dumb shit. Well, when does that shit change and cease and hope and you actually get down to business? You know? But I say that to say this. If you're a late nighter like me, work late, whatever the case may be, on the road, all that shit. Just know this about your brain. Late at night, your brain is more vulnerable to the bullshit. Especially when you're tired. Your decision making gets really lax. The impulse kind of control drops. And the repetitions of good or bad things tend to happen or hit a lot harder. So like a lot of things that we think are neutral. Like you don't think scrolling is hurting you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, right? But that quick scroll before bed isn't neutral. It's what you would call reinforcement. Basically, you're telling your brain this scroll, post, whatever matters, and it's important. In all actuality, it's probably not, but your brain's going to treat it as such due to the circumstance. Now, research shows habits formed during repeated behaviors become automatic pathways over time, which is probably explaining why it's so hard for me to fucking stop smoking and shit. Because I repeated the behavior for so long that it became its own pathway. And now you have to redo that shit, which isn't an easy task. So shout out to anybody who's putting down the tobacco for the wacky tobacco or vice versa, whatever. Just know, basically, you're not passing time. You're ultimately, with every scroll, thought, positive or negative, you're ultimately building who you are, loop by loop, thought by thought. Now, we all know that we have an internal system controlling basically our functions: sleep, hunger, mood, energy. And that's called your circadian rhythm. It's supposed to run on a natural 24-hour cycle. Key word there is natural. What the fuck is natural nowadays? Honestly. But, all right, I'm going to break down the issue and disperse it as said. Late night light equals the brain is moving or processing things as if it's the daytime. Irregular sleep patterns, hormones are more likely out of sync. And if you have a screen on, which I'm starting to learn not to do, that ultimately delays your sleep signals. Study shows stable circadian rhythms are directly tied to better mental and physical health. When that rhythm breaks, everything goes off the rails. You're tired, can't sleep, hungry at the most random times, with or without the cannabinoids. Um, and ultimately, you're just mentally cloudy, foggy. Shit just ain't right. Um, that late night deep thinking mode is basically half insight and half your natural biology glitching. So if you're a night owl, do your best to get some regulated sleep, man. I need to do the same thing tonight. So that's why I won't be on it long. 11:11, make a wish, wherever you may be in this vast world. One life lesson that I pulled from anime, because I'm tired of them repeating the same articles and stories to me. So I'm just going to give you a for example. In my opinion, anime characters don't hesitate. They don't really have a high fear threshold, I guess you could say that. And that's ultimately some of their real superpowers. Goku, Eren, different worlds, same pattern. They lose everything, hit rock bottom, big goose egg, and then move as if they're not in that space or what took place hasn't happened. They head first into everything. They move with zero hesitation. Um, One thing I feel anime does for us is strip away the one thing we deal with daily, which is surprisingly overthinking shit. Because in real life, not in anime, we tend to second guess ourselves. We think, like, the most common one for me, like, not saying that you shouldn't plan out childhood or having kids, but waiting for the perfect time. There will never be a perfect time. It's either happening or it's not going to happen. Like, it's no perfect timing for any of this shit. Because, in my opinion, you're starting it off wrong. Perfect. What's in this world is perfect other than God, Jesus, that whole situation? You feel me? So, what are we ultimately going to ever get in our lives that's perfect? Besides a spouse, but you know, a spouse ain't really perfect. It's just, it's bullshit you're willing to take, in my opinion. Because no one's perfect. So it's like, it has to be some shit that they do that you can tolerate. But that's just us. You feel what I'm saying? Golly. Okay. I ain't tripping. But nonetheless, that's one thing anime characters don't. They don't second guess it, even if it may seem like an off the wall decision. Especially if you look at Fairy Tale. That's the biggest example of that shit for me. Because Netsu seemed to go head first into every mission, like with no fucks given. Um, Now, why this may hit for some of us is because the shit ain't fantasy. It's what you look like without fear slowing you down in the process. So try to think about that. Next major hard decision you got, try to take it into anime land and see if that'll help. Now, when we look at games in this regard, I wouldn't say the games are technical, but they're mentally heavier. People used to, I guess, people used to say, like, at a certain point, games were harder. And in my opinion, that's not fully true. Like, when you look at Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and you compare that to Elden Ring, um, you have old games with straightforward missions, limited mechanics in the game, physics, whatever how you want to look at that shit. And then you have, of course, the same old skill based repetition. Now, with modern games, what we're going through now, what we're seeing is a lot more complex systems, a lot more open world decisions that affect not only your character but your surroundings. Um, you also have strategy, which you should always have in most of the games. Memory, exploration. Now it seems like in games you're juggling way more. It's not just a straight shoot. So honestly, when you think about it, like, you may not have gotten just necessarily worse at the game. Just maybe the games are carrying a lot more of a mental load than they ever had. Pause. Now, I like to do this nostalgia part as well because Um, it just takes me back to a different time, to a time where shit was simpler, shit made sense. You actually like could afford life. You feel what I'm saying? In a way, we had less, but it hit way harder, in my opinion. Like the late '90s, 2000s, life was slower, but it felt more dynamic, cinematic, bigger. You feel me? Um, we had burn CDs. The wait times on LimeWire was fucking crazy. And then we had something to get home to, whether it was a TV show, 106 in Park for the countdown, so you can talk to your friends about it at school and be like, nah, that shit was whack. Nah, I would have put this there. Whatever it was, whether it was a dance, you feel what I'm saying? Like, whatever. Like Harlem Shake, See Walk, Hill Tall, that type shit. You know what I'm saying? But now, like, everything is hot and ready. Everything is instant. Everything is available and in your face 24/7 every time you pick up that fucking phone. And yet we have more, but it's less exciting. Um, Back then, it seemed like scarcity. Or scarcity created value. Um, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think any trading card game around that time. Digimon hitting there, you know what I'm saying? But like now, like that's not an issue because it's like a surplus or overflow of everything, whether it's music, content, businesses. This a lot of it's just a lot of everything right now. Everything is overly saturated, and I feel like the more trends that come out, the more likely this shit is going to continue on because I feel like nostalgia is big because kids want to go analog now. Kids want to press buttons and shit. You feel what I'm saying? They tired of the touchscreen. So ultimately, all this shit goes back to trying to go back to a different time, a better time. Whether it's today's kids or just us, adults who just reminisce on nostalgic times. You feel what I'm saying? It's just crazy because like now you have even with cannabis, like even that situation is kind of crazy because like now it's everywhere. Before it was scarce. Like you couldn't just fall off into a state and grab some shit. You feel what I'm saying? But now you can, And you have to think about it like this. When everything is special, nothing feels special. Like, you remember when you used to see a natural booty and you be like, God damn, because you wasn't just seeing ass like you do now. Now it's ass everywhere. Like, it don't even, it just be like, all right, cool. You feel what I'm saying? Like the breastises, you know what I'm saying? The melons. That was already, you know what I'm saying, kind of a thing on, some shit. But it's like now you got like availability to get both. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like that's kind of the thing too. Like now you can get ass and titties. Tummy gone. So it's like even that shit gets played out and overloaded. You feel what I'm saying? Like now, if you think about it, no matter how you look at it, everybody bad. So it's just crazy shit when you think about it. But that ties into a whole nother video I've already done. Everyone is a 10. If you like it, think about it, check it out. You might like it. I just want to finish this with this. Just stop thinking you're lost when you're just overstimulated. Cut that screen time down. You know what I'm saying? Throw that motherfucker in the room and just don't pick it up. Like, your brain is adapting. You hesitate more than you think. You process too much at once. And you feel less from more. This isn't random. It's the environment. You don't lack discipline, really. You know what I'm saying? Like that. I don't think that's an issue that a lot of us deal with. It's the discipline part. We are just playing in a game to where like it's designed for us to be overloaded, burnt out, and everything else under the sun. This, all I can tell you this: if you don't hear shit else, Squish them say it to you tonight. Stay aware of what you repeat, because whatever you repeat becomes reality. 2 up. Till next time, y'all.